Hello, this is Chris from the Scientific Audiophile, coming to you with a quick review of the new Aiyima A07 MAX. Okay, this is a quick unboxing of the Aiyima A07 MAX, 2x300 watts. It's never going to achieve that. And now we take out this beautiful, look at that, styrofoam, and some gibberish written on a card. Don't know what that means. Lucky there's some English on it, more gibberish on the back. And oh, look, a sticker that no one's ever going to use because, I don't know, Aiyima's just not that cool. And oh, look, yep, Mono 2.0, decent little instructions. Okay, max power, 36 volts, 100 watts by 2 into 6 ohms. That's the speakers we've got. Let's see if that works out, because when you take a look at this power supply, it is the 36. And the only other thing left in the box is the actual unit, and nothing special in the wrapping. What's nice is that it's a little bit not as deep as the FOSI V3. Look at that, A07 MAX. Yep. A little on-off, makes a little noise. We'll talk about that later. And on the back, you've got your two speaker binding posts, and you've got your auxiliary out, marked auxiliary out. We'll talk about that later. Now, what makes this different is that they've done a few changes. One is, if you can see from the box, they've made some air holes. So this helps it stay cooler longer. The big change, though, is the very bottom. There's a little switch from mono mode. So if you want more power, you go to mono mode. Now, I have not loved the FOSI V3, but other reviewers have. They call it the king of the sub $100 amplifiers. I am telling you now that I am now dethroning the FOSI V3. It is not the king of sub $100 amplifiers. I'm not going to name this the king, because king means it's like the really good. It is a good amp for under $100. But it's not a king. This is not your end-all, be-all amp. In my short listening tests, and we're going to do a much deeper listening test later of this, the A07 has that little bit of compression that I got also from the FOSI. When you have a lot of loud music hitting at the same time, you can hear it, and then you have a transient. The drop-off is slower. It's kind of compressing the music a bit, and I don't love it, as we can also see from our white noise test, which is, I think, one of the best tests, because unlike a 1 kilohertz signal, which these things can pop up a ton of amperage, these Class D chips get hammered when you do a full 20 to 20,000, and that's what white noise does, and these guys cannot produce that level, but it beats the FOSI V3. It beats it in stereo mode. It beats it with the standard power supply. You don't have to buy an extra bigger power supply. It just beats it straight out. According to Aiyima, it's a higher sensitive unit, so you can put a little bit lower sensitivity, which is probably what my CD player is doing, and it can play louder. Now, a lot of people have said before, the FOSI V3 just needs more gain. Look, no one's buying a little desktop amp and sticking a little extra gain on it. That doesn't make any sense. Who's going to add distortion and gain to an amplifier? But, you know, that's not your problem. It's the problem of the manufacturer. Also, take a look at this guy. It's nice. Click, so that you know it's on. The auxiliary output is not marked sub, which is great, because if it's marked sub, you would think that this would only be outputting volume when the unit is on, and this would act like an amplifier for the subwoofer output. It is not. It's labeled as an auxiliary output because it is an auxiliary output. This will output low-end output even when the unit is completely off. So it's just a pass-through. So really well marked by Aiyima. I like that a lot. I also like the fact that the binding posts are a little bit better than on the FOSI. And I'm talking about, these aren't good binding posts. They're just significantly better than what's on the FOSI. So form factor is not as deep as the FOSI. They put the extra width in, which gives you a lot more space. And I love that. And it fits on your desk better. You don't need the FOSI's at least another 3 inches deeper. Not as wide. But I think for a desktop amplifier, the king is dead. All hail the new king.